Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome to the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. So grab you a cup of coffee, tell a friend. We'll give you guys time to get in the room and let the algorithm and the social media pages let y'all know and remind y'all that we are live, and we'll be right back in about 3 to 5 minutes.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I look in the mirror and I see a ghost. I know I'm not holy, but I know the most. The most high guy, him, he deserve a toast. I can never brag or boast. Without him, where would I be?
Assalamu alaikum and good morning, family. Grand Rising. Welcome to the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. Happy Saturday. We had a good time yesterday. Y'all was putting some good comments and topics in the chat. So I encourage you today. I don't have a specific subject on my mind. So whatever you guys decide to put in the chat, what's on your heart, what's on your mind, kind of use me as your sounding board and say, let me put this out here and let's see what we'll get back. Then I welcome that. Today is day 2 of the Unity Fast. So if you didn't fast with us yesterday, it's okay. It's still early. You got time to at least do it today. We'll break it tomorrow with dinner. So having a nice dinner tomorrow, but you can make it a day. If you couldn't make it the 2.5 days or the 3 days, you can make it today. So fasting is a great way. I have a lot of things that I'm working on and working to manifest. I'm right now in a position where God is calling me to another level. And so, you know what they say, every time God calls you to another level, you got something you got to let go of and something you got to give up. And a lot of times it's very painful. And people are looking at you like the minister says, like, is you crazy? Are you nuts? So yeah, I probably am. So what y'all drinking? I got me some coffee this morning. It's decaf with some hazelnut oat milk cream. That's what I'm doing. That feels like breakfast to me on day 2 of the fast, actually. And I got some chai ready to sip on throughout the day. And I got some calendula tea, and I use calendula tea. Calendula tea is great for inflammation, but I love it because it really is good for my skin. It's really responsive to my skin. I grew up with allergies, so because I have allergies, I'm extremely sensitive to what I put in my body or on my body and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah. So again, let me see who's in the chat here. I see Brother Lamont said he's got coffee with almond milk creamer. Okay. Sister Monica gives us the greetings. She says, Assalamu alaikum and great Saturday morning, y'all. For those of you who get nervous or scared when you hear the phrase Assalamu alaikum, it simply means peace be unto you. Okay. So whoever you are, if you're in our presence, we're wishing you peace. Um, we send you love and peace, which is really the greatest blessing that anybody can bestow upon us because we're all going through things. And if somebody wishes us peace, that is huge. Okay. It's really huge. And I just got something. I'm going to come back to that and see if that sticks with me. Okay. Brother said, yes, I fast today and Sunday. Forgot all about it. That's all right. That's all right. Damien X 1929 says, Assalamu alaikum, grateful to be blessed to see another day and to continue striving to be obedient to Allah, His Messiah, and their servant among us. Beautiful. Good God just gives us those greeting hands. Okay, y'all. Okay, so something came to me. As I was waiting for the show to start, I wanted to share something that came up during one of my coaching sessions this week with someone. I taught a class, and then after the class, I had some coaching sessions with some of the entrepreneurs that were in the class. So some wanted consultations on their business, and then some wanted coaching. And there ended up being 3 people who went through and, paid their coaching or consultation fee. And what I normally do is once you go out, you go to book SajdahWendyMuhammad.com, you book me, and you'll get that session, and then I'll give you a follow-up session for free just to either get you going or get you started, or we decide that on a long-term basis, you're going to, hire me or bring me on board. And so I try to set you up so you can be strategic and be marching towards getting your business open. And I try to let people know, look, if you bring me on board and you say you want something done, I'm going to be working and trying to figure out how to get that done. So that's the real deal. Okay. But anyway, we were talking about, it hit me when I was talking to someone about keeping a gratitude journal. And I could see them sort of spiritually struggling with that. And I didn't want to judge them and assume that they were just not grateful for something. And so I just kind of kept probing my spirit. And what I realized was that there was a vernacular issue, right? So every word that we hear elicits an emotional response. So if I tell you to be grateful for something, that's going to give you a certain emotional response. And for a lot of us, because the word grateful or the word gratitude is not part of our cultural vernacular, it doesn't really hit home for us and do for us what we have been told that it can do for us spiritually. So you hear, it came really popular when a lot of people started hearing Oprah saying she kept a gratitude journal. And so people started doing it, but a lot of people have a hard time keeping up with it, or they can't really do it, or they don't do it, or it just doesn't get down in their vibrational crawl like they want it to, right? It doesn't help them to just really bask in the energy of the universe. And so it's the word, because we don't use that a lot in our culture, especially as African Americans. But then when I said, let's talk about what you're thankful for, because a lot of us grew up hearing that. Thankful, be thankful, be thankful. You better be grateful. We'll hear that. But a lot of us really relate emotionally to being thankful. And I thought about it and I noticed, even with myself, the first time that I created what now I'll call a grateful journey, I was going through some old stuff the other day, and I went through and I noticed that I put all the things that I am thankful for, because thankful gave me a different emotional response. Um, and here's what I do. Whether I'm going through something or not, I find ways to bathe in the spirit. Whether I go sit out into nature, whether I watch nature, whether I just sit down and I'm grateful for something, whether it's a certain type of movie or show or music, certain artist, but I try to bathe in a certain frequency and a certain vibration. And when you do that, your body, meaning your molecular structure in your face, in your skin, inside of your body, begins to respond to the frequency that you're bathing in. So when I think about thankful, it's easier for me to get to that spiritual bathing process, if that makes sense. It's easy for me to get to that spiritual bath where I can sit and meditate before my prayers and bathe myself in a certain spirit. And you'll start to see where things around you respond. I can look in my own face and tell when I need to go bathe, go take a spiritual bath. And I don't mean physically in water, I mean just bathing in the spirit. And so what I noticed was that thankful and grateful had two different vibrational responses, if that makes sense. And then I looked up the differences in the definitions, and people kind of look at them interchangeably, but I don't know, right? Because grateful is a feeling or showing an appreciation of kindness. And sometimes grateful and gratitude doesn't resonate with us because we're going through stuff. We in the middle of something, we in the middle of a trial, or we're in the middle of a calling, or we just been, dealing with stuff around us. And so if you notice, a lot of times in our community, we don't use the word grateful because it's a little bit of a leap for us, even though we will say out of our mouths, yeah, I'm grateful, because we kind of know religiously and spiritually that we should be. But it's a leap because, when you're in the middle of getting beat up and you got blood coming out of you, or you're climbing up out of a depression, or you're struggling with something, it takes a lot of faith to say, I'm grateful, and mean it. Because see, the thing is, you want to mean it. You always want to get yourself to that space spiritually where you mean it. You don't want to just say it. A lot of people say, oh, I'm just grateful. I'm just grateful. But they really, really don't mean it. That's not what they mean. What they really can relate to is if we say, I'm thankful. Because the thankful piece says you're pleased and relieved. So when you're relieved, it means there was something that was putting pressure on you, something that was causing pain, something that was heavy and weighted on you, and you're now relieved. So when we go there, even before what we're praying for happens, we can get more of an emotional alignment sometimes than we can when we say gratitude or grateful. A lot of it is vernacular response to the vernacular, or an emotional response to the vernacular. But a lot of it, believe it or not, is us and our subconscious really knowing the difference between the two. And And you can get yourself oftentimes if you think about being thankful. So maybe you don't call it your gratitude journal. Maybe you call it your thankful journal, or the things that you're thankful, or the journal of being thankful. But use the word thankful, because thankful is saying you're pleased and relieved. So what are you doing? You're putting yourself in the energetic and the emotional space of relief even before the relief comes. So now you're walking into that prophecy. You're chasing that relief. You're creating the conditions in your body so that you feel the relief, and the conditions in your body and your mind will then allow you to make the right decisions that will give you some relief. So it's an interesting concept. Now, you got to add some intelligence in there, because sometimes for us, relief just means I just ain't dealing with it. I can't deal with it. Some of us means no, relief is when I become victorious. So you want to define that in your journal. What does being thankful mean? It means I'm thankful that this has happened and it has worked out in the way that is best for me. Don't think of thankful as I just don't care no more. Whatever happens, it happens. I'm just thankful. Try to be intentional when you go into that energy of thankfulness. And when you're looking for that relief, make sure that you're not having conversations with people that help pile on the pressure. Because sometimes people may think that they're doing you a favor, and they'll start talking to you about what other people they know have gone through that's similar to you. And if it's not from a space of I'm talking you through it because there's information in here or there's a strategy in here, but I'm just talking because I think that that's giving you some relief, you want to be careful, because it's not necessarily giving you relief. It's going to pile on the pressure. And even if you're doing the work over here, like I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I'm pleased, I'm relieved, but then you're having a conversation with somebody who is constantly talking to you about the pressure or about somebody else with the pressure, it's counterbalancing the spiritual work that you do. We can make anything happen with our mind. And if you got a team of people, even if you unite with people and you all are working together and understanding these principles of manifestation, you can make anything happen. So I just wanted to share that because it was just something that I discovered. Let's see, I saw some more of you all join. Who said they drinking some Mexican coffee with hazelnut? Okay, Brother Damien. He said he needed the fast. Yes. Walaikum salam, sister. That's Sister Alita. Saturday morning blessings to everyone. Nani Kose Venture says, good morning. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you and thankful for you as well. Giving each other the greetings. Brother Damon says, beautiful distinction between grateful and thankful. Yeah. We get caught up, right? Because we think we can interchange the two, but we don't really. I'm breaking down why oftentimes we switch grateful for thankful. And I noticed that I was doing that because you're seeking relief through the solution that you're looking for. So anybody on here who knows me, if you talk to me and you got a challenge or something you're facing, then I'm talking to you about solutions and finding a way to get you to that space of relief. Okay? Sometimes it's laughter. Sometimes it's just facts. Sometimes it's a distraction, but what we're trying to create is the space where your body begins to respond as if what you want has already happened. And when things get more complicated, it becomes more of a challenge, because you may have people around you who are constantly calling you, and they may be working on your behalf, but they're constantly calling you, talking to you about the problem. And so instead of trying to take your mind to a space of gratitude, because oftentimes in hearing their conversation about it, you may have your team, y'all might be working on a big project, and the team is calling you and letting you know, here's the status on this challenge and here's the status on that, and it's kind of weighing heavy on you, and you're wondering why you yourself are not getting to that space of relief, and it's because you're not seeing, and they're not helping you get to the relief. So even if you have a team, teach your staff to be solution oriented and to seek relief. Okay? Because we like to think about gratitude like being a gladiator, right? Like, I'm going into battle and they're going to cut my ear off, but I'm going to still be grateful. That's a lie. That's a whole lie. You got to be a real special person. There's only a few people on the planet that can do that. You go into battle, you get your ear cut off, and you say, "Oh, I'm grateful." Now you can look around and say, "I'm thankful for the soldiers that helped me. Even though I got my ear cut off, I'm thankful for those that helped me." You can do that, and then that'll start inching you there. But I want us to be very careful about the words that we use when we're talking to ourselves. Put in the chat. Let me know if you talk to yourself. Because if you say you don't, you're lying. And if you don't, you should start. If you don't, you should start. It's very, very important to sit down, and I like to meditate first, and then I talk to myself in that meditation, and whatever I need to talk to myself about, and then that conversation tends to lead to talking to God and sharing and putting myself in a certain space. So usually what I do is I'll meditate, and that kind of calibrates myself, and then I'll go into my prayers, and then I go from my prayers and I bridge the conversation with just being thankful. Being thankful. And usually it's whatever I'm looking for, I'm grateful or thankful for it. And then I move into having those conversations with myself. So yeah, you're right, Sister Aletha, talking to yourself and then answering yourself. That's important. I'll say, I'll talk to my mind. I'll talk to my heart. I'll talk to, the organs in my body. I'll talk to, my overall general spirit. I'll talk to the God within me. I'll tell you something that I do if I'm feeling overwhelmed. Let's say I feel overwhelmed or sad or something like that. I'll ask myself, I'll say, mind, spirit, download into me the intelligence that I need to overcome fear, to overcome anxiety. Yeah, we say our prayers for that, overcome anxiety and grief. But for most of us, there's a clear separation between us and the God we pray to. Most of us have not gotten to that point where we're merged yet, and likely won't get there until we get ready to leave this earth. So we're always constantly dealing with the sovereignty of ourselves, which is important, because that's what's going to help us to be in alignment or in submission. So having that conversation, I'm feeling anxious, and I know that somewhere within me, there is the intelligence to relieve my anxiety. Or I know that, this problem that I'm going through is making me nervous, is scaring me. But I know somewhere inside of me, there's the intelligence to overcome and tap into a solution. Why do I say that? Because we always say that God wouldn't put anything on us that we can't bear. So that means that whatever we're going through is for our benefit. And so even though sometimes we can't see the benefit, we're like, man, how can this be for my benefit? Well, we got to use it and make it for our benefit. So first, finding that relief. Okay? Finding that relief. What in this am I thankful for? What is this teaching me? What is this showing me? How am I going to be able, this is my own personal prayer, because part of my calling is giving of myself to you all, and you all bless me in return with the blessings in your life when I see you growing and developing, and I feel like I've given some kind of way, some energy to help you do that. It rewards me. I know I'm always talking about a love offering, all that. That's important because we live in a real world, right? And our platforms and stuff cost money. And so I ask you, if I bless you, if you bless me in return, that's real. But what I'm talking about for me, I go into, what of this are you asking me to dissect and use to bless others with? Because it don't make sense for us to overcome things and then we just sit somewhere on our own. This is why a lot of times we don't go through nothing, and most of us are in a reality wheel or on a hamster wheel. Why? Because we don't share anything with anybody. We don't give to anybody. When's the last time you just decided you just wanted to give something to somebody just because? When's the last time you just say, you know what, let me go and just see what I can do for them? When's the last time you did that? And that's why a lot of times we don't get the blessings that we're looking for, because we live a life of subtraction. We're hoarding. Let me hold on. This is mine, me, mine. Let me have it. And y'all know we always talk about flow. How do we give? How do we open? How do we share of ourselves? Because God shares so gracefully with each and every one of us, even to the point of putting us through things. And a lot of us seek that relief and we try to just ignore it, and we just get on that hamster wheel and that reality wheel, and we do the same thing over and over and over every day. Nothing varies. And then others of us go, you know what? What is it? What's in this for me to learn? How can I share? How can I give? Let's see. What are y'all? The fact that you call it a love offering makes it seamless to give. Oh, praise be to Allah, because it is a love offering. See, I think sometimes, sis, when money has been made to be this very difficult, harsh, rough thing. And I want you to be very, very careful with people who look at it like that. It's a love offering because it gives us a choice. It gives us options. That's what money does for us. So what we're praying for when we're praying for money, at least for me, if I need money, I'm saying, Allah, give me options. Because without this particular resource that is a commodity in this world, I don't have a lot of choices. But if you give me options, If you give me the money, it will give me options. It'll allow me to make some choices. It'll allow me to create some outcomes that are better for myself and for my people. Changing up that word, because what are you really looking for? Are you really looking for money, or are you looking for options? Because you could have a lot of money and just have it sit in the bank, but if you don't use it, it's the same as you not really having it, because the idea of having money is having options, having choices. Do I want chicken, fish, steak, or vegetables for dinner? Do I want to go to this restaurant or that restaurant? Do I want to stay home or cook? If you have no money, your option may just be, think I got to fast today. Or your option may just be, I think it's just going to be this soup. Or you may have limited options. Give me money because I want options. Where am I going to send my child? Am I going to send them to this private school or that private school? Am I going to send them to a certain public school that's in another area, but we're going to have to pay transportation to get it there? Am I going to send them to this school that's right here in the area, but I'm going to spend the money to put them in an extracurricular enrichment program? These are options that we get when we have money. So that's what we're praying for. That's what we're looking for, is money. And so is options. And to me, those options are synonymous with love. Because if love is freedom, justice, and equality, then, that's why I call it a love offering. So if I bless you, then I ask that you bless me. If you can't give on the Cash App or the support sajdahhouse.com or something like that, then I ask for your sincere prayer. I don't just make an excuse and go, well, I ain't trying to give no $20 a day or whatever, so I'm just going to pray. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. And I'm going to say this too, because for us as a people in business, when it comes to business, I should say, money is oftentimes very, very taboo. We don't talk about it in our families unless we're begging or complaining about it. And we see ourselves a certain way if we need something, or if we're asking for help, or we want help. We see it a certain way. And we got to get out of that too, right? That's why when I talked on Thursday about franchising, I was saying that if we go with the micro social networks and franchise within those, there's a certain level of camaraderie and trust there. Because if you can't tell the people you're close to that you need help, then there's some challenges with the people that you're close to. If you can't say to someone you're close to or people in your circle, hey, pray for me. Or if you can't say, hey, I know you may not have a lot of money, but right now I'm facing something where I need some money, so I need your prayers on options, or I need, some advice on something. If you can't say that, then you need to work on getting another circle. We have to be able to figure out how to go to one another for relief. And a lot of times we don't necessarily have the money. For a lot of us, if we needed $100,000 tomorrow, we may not come from a community where we can go and ask our parents or our cousins or our children or our colleagues. We may not have that. So you have to find a way to say, hey, this is what I'm facing. This is what I'm dealing with. And I need your prayers for options. And let me say this to those of us on the other side. When we see somebody going through something, don't kick them while they're down. Don't be like, yeah, okay. From a competition standpoint, I'm up now. It's me. I'm the one. I'm on top. Let me tell you something. Whenever you see God calling somebody, and they're in a space where they're in need, and if you know that person and you can help that person to see it differently, you're going to help that person to walk into blessings, and you're going to walk into blessings. Don't ever discount somebody just because you see them going through something, because if they handle it right, it can be a massive elevation, a massive elevation. Let's see what y'all are saying. Damien said fish and veggies tomorrow. Okay. Right. Money is a physical form of opportunities. Yeah. Yeah. Information is more important than money. It's money. Yeah. Money. Yeah. Information is very important. Yes, we do. Said money's money. I understand that. The circle is very, very important. Yeah. Seeking a new circle. Your circle is very important. And within your micro circle or your community, there's going to be like-minded people that come together within the community. And so even seeking those people who get you, who understand you and understand where you are. I've learned the importance of being my authentic self, because when I'm my authentic self, you can love me authentically. You can love me based on what you see. I've been in situations where sometimes not by choice, where maybe it's a work situation or a business situation where the person only knows me based upon the situations that we've had together in business, and they can only love me to the extent that they've seen me from a business standpoint. I've had some people where I didn't present the other aspects of myself and all of me to them. And we do that all the time, where we go into an act, we pretend like we're something else, we're code switching, we're actually very phony. And so people can't really love us truly. And then we feel empty on the inside. We feel like, man, they don't love me. They don't know me. I feel like I need love. Well, a lot of that oftentimes is because we're not really presenting our authentic self to people, and people can only really love you to the extent that they know you and experience things. A lot of people's love is not unconditional. It's not pure. It's not clear. And how pure and clear can they really be if they don't really know you? So being authentic is really, really important. Now, I'm not saying you got to go around bearing your soul, but just be authentic. Be who you are. I've been in friendships and relationships where a person picked out, I'm a very multifaceted person. So a person picked out an aspect of my personality and fell in love with that aspect and ignored the other aspects of me. I mean, didn't even really want to hear it. And I felt like the person couldn't see me, couldn't identify. But what I realized was twofold. I didn't do a good job at representing myself, because maybe I went into the situation and some of my behaviors were other than myself, or I was a little off, so the person couldn't see me clearly, or they couldn't see me the way I wanted to be seen. So here's an example. If you want to be a queen or a god, and you want to be seen as a certain way, then you have to conduct yourself like a royal person. Okay, don't mean you can't keep it real, don't mean you can't be loving, but if you want to be treated like royalty, you got to look like royalty, you got to think like royalty, you got to dress like royalty. You can't act ratchet, excuse my language, and dress like a street worker, a sex worker, if you want to be treated like royalty. Because people are treating you based on how you present. And I know it's hard, and nobody should be violating your human and personal rights because of how you present. But because people are so shallow, I would suggest that you not take that chance. I would just suggest that you not take that chance. And it's so unfair oftentimes where women and men, when there is some type of abuse, people say, well, what was they doing? What were they wearing? How did they present themselves? That's our attempt on our very low animalistic side to say, well, this is why they ignored your human rights. And while that's not right and it's not fair, it's very common. It's very common. And especially, I would say it would be very old school for me to say in male female relationships, because oftentimes when we present a certain way based on the clothes that we wear and how we look and how we conduct ourselves, we would elicit a certain response in men, and it would oftentimes lead to a certain level of disrespect that was tolerated or expected. That's not fair, because nowadays, depending on how you treat you present yourself, everybody responds a certain way, believe it or not. And it's unfortunate and it's not fair, but it happens. It's a little nuance, because it's one thing for us to demand that as a woman, it's one thing for us to demand that a man treat us a certain way. It's another thing for us to present ourselves in a way where not only are we treating him in a certain way, but we now make it very clear that this is how we expect to be treated. Now, some people are just savages, and no matter how you present yourself, they're going to respond like an animal, like a savage. Some people are just savages. But you should be going with how you desire to be treated. You can change the energy of the room based on how you present to the room, how you show up to the room. Again, why are you going among savages looking like a raw piece of meat, knowing that the savages are going to tear you apart? That is guaranteed. Is it right? Is it fair? No, it's not. Should people violate your rights because you dress a certain way? No. But how much are you increasing the chances that it's going to happen when you're going amongst a savage and you look like a raw piece of meat? You look like a raw steak. You think that savage ain't going to tear up that steak? And you got men that are savages out here, and you got women that are savages out here. I'm not even just talking about male-female relationships. Some people are savages. Some people may come to you and try to cover you up. That probably is going to be few and far between. They're going to come to you and say, hey, sis, bro, take this blanket. Cover yourself up. They may mean cover yourself up spiritually. Cover up your vulnerabilities. Cover up, you may be being too open. Cover up your body because you're exposing too much. Maybe you're exposing too much of yourself mentally, physically. Some people will come to you and say, hey, cover up. Here's a blanket. Let me help you cover. But a lot of people are going to look at you and look at how you present and assume that you want to be ravaged by rabid dogs. And even if they should help you get covered, they'll just go, oh, well. And I find it so interesting that now, I'm just going to say this because, and I know that this is probably not politically correct to say, but pop culture has made like stripper culture mainstream. So when women get dressed up, even a lot of times professional women or women who don't identify with that culture, when they get dressed up and get ready to go somewhere, they think the go-to style or the go-to vibe is some expression of the stripper culture. Just just scroll around online. You'll see people who are lawyers and doctors and professionals. When they get ready to go to a party, they'll come up out of their scrubs and out of their suits and put on stripper wear and go to the party. And I know this is not politically correct, but because that becomes a style. You see our little girls, they'll get ready to go to prom, and this is their opportunity to dress in the vein of the stripper culture. What happened to elegance? What happened to, what about if your daughter decides to go to prom and she decides that she's going to be the most elegant woman in the room? She's going to glide in there with elegance and style. What happened to that? But I noticed that everybody, I was at an event the other day and everybody there was PhD and attorney and everybody's all dressed up, but everybody was dressed like they went to a stripper's closet damn near and just got clothes. They might have just put a little skirt over it, or they might have just put a little jacket over it. And the more money they seem to have, the more they strip down and the less clothes they put on. And I watched the more compliments these people got. And then I came into the room and my goal was to be as elegant and godlike as possible. And guess who got most of the attention? The elegant and godlike person. Most people wanted to talk to that person. Why? Because that person looks like they had something else going on in their mind that was different from these other people. A person can look at your uniform and tell what you do and what your mindset is. So even if we're, high end, we got our high end degrees, we're professional, we're all this and that. If we decide that when we get dressed up, we're going to take off our clothes and present like a garden tool, if you will, like we're soliciting sex, then that's going to give you an insight in how we handle things professionally. Will we sell out? Will we marry somebody just for the money? Is that what we're saying? I don't know. Some of us have a thing in our brain where we say, no, I'm not like that. I'm just going out. This is just what I'm wearing. So why not make sure that what you're wearing reflects who you are and your mind? Why is it that when you make a fashion choice, it's different from what you say is in your mind? Where's the gap? Where's the reconciliation? Why the gap and where's the reconciliation? Why don't you see that you could still be fine and fly, and you're going to suck up all the energy in the room and get all the attention from the smart people when you look a certain way? But if you look the other way, then those looking for a raw piece of meat are going to be attracted to you. I'm saying this in a politically correct way because I just want to I really want to make a point. Let me know in the chat if you get it. Brother Lamont said, I just keep my head down when I'm in social circles, too provocative. Yeah, so provocative. But a lot of times as women, we don't know, because when we go to the store, that's all that's available. When we get ready to put on a cocktail dress or we go to a cocktail party, that a cocktail dress has less material. And sometimes we don't care if we got the body for the cocktail dress or not. We just want to be in the cocktail dress because somebody told us that if you're going to this party, you got to wear a cocktail dress. And then the store tells us what cocktail attire is. And so sometimes we're overly provocative. Sometimes we're overly provocative and we don't even know it. We don't want to be that. I see women going to church and they look like they're going to the club. I've coached young college graduates who have come to me. I've taught classes where they've come to me and they say, well, I'm ready to go out in the corporate world. And so we want to talk about how to dress and how to present themselves. And I said, well, come to class tomorrow, dress the way you would if you had an interview. And when I tell you that 80% of them will come looking like they're going to the club, because we don't see fashion outside of what is presented to them. We've been taught that this is the uniform and this is what you put on. And this is across socioeconomic genres. You may have one or two sisters that'll come in with something a little less provocative. You know, and now men are dressing provocative. But I'm specifically addressing the women. And so I'm asking them, okay, and so what do you want your outfit to say to your employer? And I'm not even putting employers on a pedestal because, you know, a lot of them accept it and think it's okay until it ain't. You see? Until you get in the office and the men can't think straight and then they start writing you up for how you dressing. But a lot of the women had never even thought about what they were soliciting when they dressed a certain way. They're just watching videos. One sister came in and she said, I seen Cardi B in this dress. And I said, that's cool. Love Cardi B. But you got a different profession than Cardi B does now and the one that she had. So she came out of a certain profession. She's in a certain profession now, neither of which are your profession. You just graduated with a business degree. You just came out of college. You just graduated with a medical degree. You just came out of medical school. You're transitioning from one job to another. You just finished being a director at a nonprofit organization. Neither of those professions are the same as the one Cardi B came from or the one that she's in. So why did you pick to wear the uniform like hers to go get a job at the hospital? And some people say, well, these hospitals are like Peyton Place. And they are a lot of times. Some of them are really, really ratchet with all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. But what are you representing? How are you representing? People always ask me, they say, all those years you was on the road consulting and moving and traveling around the world, I can't believe that, you know, you didn't get married or that some man didn't just aggress you. First of all, wasn't that many black men out there till I started going to Africa. But second of all, I wasn't presenting myself for that. I was there wanting to do my work. I was very conservative. I didn't want the white man in the room to be looking at my backside and my front side as we in there trying to solve things, solve problems, and serve our clients. I wanted to be seen as a true consultant. And I've had people say to me, if you tweak things, if you just do things a little bit differently. I just had somebody this week say, if you let go of some of that Islam and some of your spirituality, man, you could make so much money. But see, for me now, you're trying to make me a regular person. You're trying to reduce me down to a mortal level so you can identify with me. And in that identification, you're saying that you'll give me money. Well, what I'm saying is that I have a certain calling on this earth. I am who I am, and I love who I am. I am representing a culture, but more than representing a culture, I'm representing myself, who is a servant of God. I can still be fun. I can still be smart. And there are like-minded people in the universe that I've run into, that I've worked for, where I've been allowed to be myself and make money and not have to sell my soul, not have to sleep with somebody or steal from somebody or hurt somebody or be a predator to get what it is that I want. But sometimes people will out and out say these things to you. And when they think like, whoa, she's not going to be in compliance because she's kind of weird, then sometimes people don't want you around. They'd rather have a simple-minded person who dresses ratchetly than maybe a person who's brilliant, who's not coming to be inappropriate. So these are some of the things that we get challenged by. And you could still be fly. You could still be cute. But I want you to think about, how are you presenting yourself? And that goes for men too. How you present yourself? How do you want people to see you? What reaction do you want to solicit when you walk into the room? When you step into the room? What do you want? Let's see what we got here. Mom got the bullseye and the 100s and the exclamations. That's right. Damon repeated what I said. Look, think, and act like royalty. Yeah. Said great morning talk. Thank you. Thank you so much. Brother said again, keep his head down. Yeah, they can control simple-minded and ratchet. I think it's interesting how many people want to control people. Like, what is that about? It's like, it's more than just pimping and getting people to do things for you for money. People really love dominating people and controlling people. And it's so weird. I think a lot of it is born out of our competition. So we don't want people to elevate beyond us. Some of us are just control freaks and insecure. And we don't want to look like, or we don't want to be reminded of what we should be doing. So we rather people stay on a certain level, and we do it subconsciously. So we're constantly trying to bring them down to our level. But the control thing, a lot of that is born out of insecurity. That's why I always tell people when I'm coaching them, if you got a lot of insecure people around you, you got to really be careful, because insecure people oftentimes are going to be competitive, which is not an energy you want in a loving relationship. Insecure people are not going to be trustworthy, which is not an energy you want. Insecure people are going to oftentimes not want you to elevate, which is not an energy that you want in a loving relationship. So you want to be mindful of that kind of thing and maintain your boundaries. Okay, y'all. I know this wasn't a specific topic, but I just wanted to share. So next week, I ask for you all to continue to support the channel. We're going to show reruns because I am not going to be available Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. So we're going to, if you got some ideas while I'm talking of what shows you think I should show as a rerun, otherwise I'm going to pick a couple and we'll show those. But inshallah, the grace of Allah, I'll be back Monday for Sajdah's Monday morning motivation. I'll be there this Monday, and then I won't be back till next Monday. So tune in Monday, 6 a.m. We'll do our weekly motivation, and then I'll be away Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then back that following Monday, inshallah. Okay, family. Make sure you give a love offering. If I've blessed you in any way today, bless me with a love offering. Sajdah Enterprises on Cash App. If you need me for coaching or consulting, you want to work past some of your blind spots, you got a business you're trying to get off the ground or scale, or a problem you're trying to solve, just go to book SajdahWendyMuhammad.com. Yeah, that's it. So I'll see you all, inshallah, on Monday. Give love this week. Remember, our goal here on this network is to be in business and be conscious entrepreneurs, to be loving, to do for self, to accept ourselves, to love ourselves, which we all got to work on. I'm working on that myself. First, love yourself, because I'm one of those kind of persons. I love everybody else, but I don't always love myself the way that I should. And so I am working on that. I love you all. I wish each and every one of you more goodness than you've ever experienced or imagined. All right. And so with that, we'll see you all, inshallah, Monday morning. Peace and blessings.